Hey guys, this is Gualter Amarelo. I run a real estate team in the great city of Fall River. This is one of the toughest cities in the state of Massachusetts, but it's home to us. My team, we're real estate agents, we're investors, and we're landlords. We go out every day and we teach people how to buy and sell houses. We help them get through all their problems. There's no such thing as a simple transaction in real estate. There's always going to be something that comes through and jams up the deal, but we're professionals, we're good at handling those things. The piece about us investing, we're looking to always double our portfolio, we're always doing flips, we're always doing more holds. We deal with a lot of tenants. Tenant issues, they're always going to exist, but we figured out how to handle them one way or the other. When you have a choice, you always work with the best. This is the Fall River Hustle.
Hey, welcome to episode 3 of the Fall River Hustle. Today we've got some details on Morton Street, final walkthrough and a sale. We also have a training meeting that Gualter here ran. And we were talking to your friend Dan.
Yep, so we learned a lot about short sales. We crushed in another meeting, and we definitely are very excited about our closing on Morton Street. A lot of money back in the bank, a lot of stress off our shoulders. So enjoy the hustle. See you guys soon.
I'm dealing with a lot of people that have owned these multifamilies for 40, 50 years.
Right.
And they paid $65,000 for the property.
We call that loss to lease. So when we go in as investors, we're trying to buy a building with low rents because we'll just go in and raise the rents. So that's how we make our money.
Realistically, what do you think that house should be?
I think we can get $295 for it all day, but I think $290 would have been a good listing price to put it at. But we had such high interest at the 320s, so he saw that when I gave him back the data of how many people had interest in it. So he was like, "We'll just
go with that.
Go with the 320." But I don't know if that's going to hurt us now because he feels like he can actually get the 320. So I don't want to drag.
How long has it been in the market?
9, 10 days.
How many calls in the first 9, 10 days?
A lot.
He's fine.
A lot.
Yeah, keep running it.
We had about 15, 20 people before we even had the open house started.
So loss to lease is something I explain to landlords as an opportunity. So a lot of them will say, oh, well, the rents are so low, I don't know if I want to buy this building. And in reality, as investors, I'm always looking for loss to lease because it's the easiest thing for me to fix. I can go in, and if the rent is at $500 per month, and I know market rent is $800, $900, I just go in and I raise the rent on the tenant. So that is, that gap in between that, the $400 or $300 in between is what we call loss to lease. It's money we're losing every month.
And we're going to crank up our marketing. I actually got, so that marketing campaign, that 2 days that we did it, actually still coming through.
So I noticed too, right now we have our incoming calls going directly to voicemail. Because I got it too, I had 500 calls this week, well, just on Monday alone.
They have a big opportunity. If they call back, I mean, they're calling for a reason. Right. Either they're going to call to say, hey, stop calling me, or they're calling to say, yeah, I heard your message, I'm interested in working with you.
My favorite are, call me back, I'm interested in a cash offer.
Oh, yeah.
And then they hook you to scream at you.
There's like only a handful of people who do that, and like I said, they move around the world a little bit. So you may come across that same person 2 or 3 times in your lifetime, which is okay. Challenge accepted.
How you doing, everybody? I'm Dan Balkan from Balkan Title and Closing. We're based in Rhode Island. We do short sale negotiations, we do buyers, we do titles, we do everything real estate related. I came in today, met with the boys at the real estate company to talk about short sales because we have a lot of clients out there that need help. In today's lesson, we talked about how to identify, how to work with, and how to get people out of a bad situation and into a good situation. So stay tuned, we got a lot more coming for you.
Hey Dan, so I want to thank you for coming in today, brother.
Thanks for having me.
So Dan is apparently the short sale authority, the authority on short sales. You know my slogan, always work with the best. Well, Dan apparently is the best. So
thank you, sir.
I got a couple questions. Me and Ron, we've noticed a couple short sales coming up, and we've handled them, but we got in the mix a little bit, had to learn a little bit the hard way.
Sure.
So how do we know, as real estate agents, how do we know it's the right situation to put somebody into a short sale? How do we know?
Well, first thing is identifying with the client, right? The banks are going to identify with a hardship. So hardship can be divorce, it can be loss of income, it can be borrowing from Peter to pay Paul. Aren't we all born and raised to pay our bills, right? Yeah. So, if you have a person that's trying really hard, they're going to do everything they can to make sure that the mortgage is paid.
That's something most of our short sale people that we've run through have. They have a hardship.
Yeah.
Then what is it that they need to bring, or how do we get the short sale process started? Like, How do we know, okay, we've got a hardship, I'm gonna go to Dan, and Dan, where do we go from this point?
Well, a consultation, right? Because where the negotiator comes in or an expert,
Yeah.
they are there to help the client facilitate getting to point A to point B.
So the reason Dan is here today is because Gualter talked to me the other day and said, yeah, I just sent two short sale deals over to another investor. And I was like, why'd you do that? And he's like, well, because I don't know how to do short sales. Nobody in the office knows how to do short sales. And I was like, do you know anybody that knows how to do short sales? He's like, no. And I was like, do you know anybody who knows anybody who might know how to do short sales? And then he was like, wear the hat. I might. And I was like, could you make some calls, please? So we found Dan. Dan's a brilliant short sale guy. We're doing short sales now.
Yeah, so the short sale meeting today was pretty powerful. We ran into a couple short sales recently, and we went through it. We didn't really know what to do, but being able to sit down and talk to him about what really needs to be done in the process, understanding the paperwork, I feel like I'm going to be able to help my clients a lot better when I'm out there. And then the conversation he had with the team, being able to train them and teach them, was just super valuable. Short sales are a thing that happens, and when they do happen, we want to make sure we can execute quickly and make it less stressful than it already is. All right, so we're going over to Morton Street. Morton Street is a flip we were working on. We're closing on what day today, Ron?
Friday.
Friday.
What is that, the 10th?
Friday the 10th? All right, so we're closing on that one. We're just going to go, supposedly the smoke detector installation guys were already in there. They've already installed the smoke, so we're just going to go double check. Since they never called to verify it, Ron was a little concerned. So we're going to go take a walk over there and just make sure that there's no leaks, everything looks clean, kind of the way we left it. We haven't been in that building for a while. Yeah, so Morton Street was probably the easiest project we've ever tackled. We actually bought that with another 4-family on the same plot, and Ron did all the work. So he split the property up, he went and he had the plumbers come through, had the sewer all ripped up and chopped up and then divided and everything, so he did a lot of work there. So good job, Ron.
Morton Street was a pretty good flip for us because we didn't have to do a whole lot of work to it. All we had to do was some work on the radiators, we had to split off the water, and we had to do the smoke detectors. The flip basically consisted of subdividing this property and getting it ready for sale.
Yeah, so as you can see right here, they had to install a new sewer line,
Water line.
new water line running into the house. So they dug up the yard, they dug up the street, and they ended up putting a new system in. Nice, there we go. This one is still looking clean. Got all the lights on.
Extra trim.
This is what sold the house. Nice bright dining room. They loved it.
This was working every time I come over. It's just a really dim light. Is it out now?
That's not a dim light, it's a not working light.
All right, well then the light bulb's out.
Yeah. So, you got a light bulb on here?
Yeah. Don't shock yourself.
This is no good. That's not the same one. Nope, we
I
can't
know
take
it's not
that.
the same one, but we can test it to see if it's the fixture or the bulb.
If you don't
It's a
break
little
it.
warm.
Yeah. Now you, alright, stop working. Here you go.
Yeah, it's the same bulb.
Okay. You know, we'll see. Turn the light on.
Oh, it's on. Yeah,
Yeah, there you go.
the bulb.
Thanks. That was easy.
Oh, and see, this one came on too.
Solving problems, taking names.
I told you.
So the light bulb situation was just literally just going through, we were walking, checking everything, we turn on the lights, check all the windows, and in this situation the bathroom didn't have a light. When I turned it on, nothing happened. Now we had plenty of lights over in the living room, a whole bunch of bulbs, but when you bring somebody through a house and they go to flick on a light and it doesn't work, it's going to be an issue in their head. So taking one bulb from a place that had 10 bulbs is no big deal when it suddenly makes the one thing that seemed broken work, right? So it was just a matter of, hey, what do we have on hand at the moment? And Ron was clever enough to go find a bulb and almost break the bulb, but he caught it, so it's all good.
So with the light bulb, I told him to test it, but then he just left it in the bathroom. But hey, it works, and now the new buyer has a bathroom light that works.
Yeah, this actually looks really nice. You
Oh,
can't
it
even
is.
tell if there was a different heater
Yeah,
here.
it's brand new. The older ones are in that room.
Yeah. So it costs a little bit of money. It costs a lot more money than I expected. Yeah. But at the end, he did a really good job, and it's going to get this house sold, so it needed to be done.
That job with the radiator, that kind of hurt us financially, but it had to be done, and it got done, and now there's a good working radiator there.
So we took a look at the radiator, which was extremely expensive as far as what we were looking to spend on this flip. But, you know, after seeing it done, it was really worth doing, and it looks really great right now. So we want to appreciate and thank Dean the plumber.
And at the top of the stairs, so there's a smoke detector there. At the top of the stairs, we have another one. And then we have another carbon detector right here. So every living space, every living level has to have one of these on it. Right here we got a carbon monoxide detector. It's very important to have these in the buildings.
The smoke detectors are always a pain, but they've got to be done for safety reasons. The city requires them, and so we just get in there and we get them done.
So smoke detectors are a very serious issue when you're going to close a house. The city will actually not allow you to close unless you go and have the fire department bring in a fire certificate, actually saying that all the smokes are in the right place, and now they require carbon monoxide detectors on every floor. So this was something that we have a company that we use called Smoke Detector Inspectors. They cost a little bit of money, but when they go out there, they check. It costs $100 for them to check the entire building, and then for them to install, it's somewhere around $26 to install each unit. And it's honestly worth it. I think the units themselves cost us around $24 or $25, so it's a really good value. We just wanted to go double check their work and make sure everything was done.
And then because this is a single family home, you have to have the smoke detector outside of the bedrooms. So if this was a multifamily, a 4-unit plus, the smoke detector would have to be in the hallway and in each and every bedroom. So the multifamilies get very costly, but they're worth it. It's worth it to be safe. Alright, so we just want to make sure that the pipes got installed correctly.
Yeah, that's all new down there, because that's the...
Yeah, so this is all brand new. The water meter wasn't on previously. You can see all the brand new copper pipes, nice and shiny, nice and expensive. That's the stuff people like to steal. So let's not post this episode until the building's sold.
Copper is one of those expensive materials that gets used in piping up here in the Northeast. We use it for our radiators, and some of our wires are made out of copper as well, actually most of them. So when we buy a house, many times the copper will just be missing. Or sometimes we'll do renovations, we'll put brand new copper in, we'll do all the work, and we'll come the next day and all the copper's missing. Because they can go and they can scrap it for metal prices. So that's always a major concern whenever you're doing work is the copper missing? How much is this going to cost us to replace it? And then when we go in, we usually try to replace it with PEX, which is a plastic tube that nobody wants to steal.
Well, the copper pipe looks really good in the basement, and the plumber did a really good job. From now on, we'll be requesting PEX because that's a lot cheaper and a lot less prone to being stolen.
Now the furnace is working. You feel it's nice and warm. That's good. The circulator's running, bringing heat.
Basically, we replaced that that one heating unit you saw upstairs and this gas valve right there.
Oh, yeah.
That was basically the major.
Dude, this thing was expensive.
That was $200 for
That little piece. Yeah, that thing was no joke.
Yeah.
That was what all the cost was. And all this copper pipe. Look at how much new copper pipe we got down here.
Yeah.
That's where all that money went.
Mm-hmm. We had to replace that regulator valve. It cost a pretty penny, but unfortunately, just over the years, it stopped working. And getting it replaced, putting a new one on there, now we have a good working heating system.
Boiler valve was extremely expensive. It was called a regulator valve. It's one of those things. A box like this costs like $250, and it's like you just connect it on both sides. But the amount of expense for that heater to get working, we just didn't see that coming.
What I do know is that these were all done at different times. I'm not sure which cables came first. I'm pretty sure BX cable came first, and the aluminum wiring came afterwards, aluminum wrap wire. And then this is an older version of what we use now. We use something called Romex, and this doesn't have a ground. This doesn't have a ground, but this does. But you can see they're not using the ground on this receptacle. We've come a long way. So what they did when they finished the walls was they didn't put a vapor barrier up. So on the other side of this concrete gets wet. So it's getting moisture into the wood, it was getting moisture into the boards, and so that's why you see the warping happening. Now, normally, when you'd finish something like this, you would actually put a vapor barrier up, and then you'd insulate, and then you'd put your walls, and you'd finish everything. This house we sold as unfinished. This was just basement space, so we didn't actually have to do any of this. But normally, we would have come in and we would have, fixed all this or ripped all these out and just painted it and made it a nice, open, clean space. But this was a very easy flip for us. We didn't do any work. It was basically a wholesale deal. We closed on the property and we put it on the market the next day. We did no work into this, and we sold it at a very cheap price. This sold at $140. If we came through and renovated and fixed everything, we probably could have gotten it closer to $180, $190. But this was we needed quick cash. Let's just let somebody else take it and let somebody else do all the work in it. So we own this, and we own this. So we split the land right here, right down the yard, and we're selling this piece off. You can see it's a nice little house. It's got a brand new roof on it, nice new vinyl. We had to do some painting on the windows to pass FHA. But all in all, this is a great project. And the benefit is we still kept this thing, and this is what makes us all the money.
Thank you for joining us for episode 3 of the Fall River Hustle. We were really excited to get that check for Morton Street and speak with your friend Dan. Tell us about your training.
Yeah, so Dan gave us a little bit of knowledge on the short sales, and then when we sat with all our agents, we were discussing short sales. So our trainings we do every Thursday at 10 o'clock and every Tuesday at 6 p.m. It's a great opportunity for real estate agents to come in and learn some things. When you have a choice, always work with the best. Like, subscribe, click the links below, and share these videos.
I think it's the hats, Doc. They're just driving me crazy. He just keeps getting new ones. And the one with the tail, what's up with that?